So let's begin today's program taking our popular quote, and this one is from Dr. Theodore Seuss Giselle, an American children's author, political cartoonist, illustrator, poet, and animator. He once said, "You know you are in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams." Okay, so let's take our second quote, and this one is from Franklin P. Jones, an American columnist. He once said that love doesn't make the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile. And then they used to say love makes the world go round. But this looks different. Okay, so because it is Valentine's Day, let's take another quote. And this one is from Rita Rodner, an American comedian who began her career as a Broadway dancer. She once said, "I love being married. It's so great to find one special person who you want to annoy for the rest of your life." Ew. All right, very interesting, you say. I'm sure you already know where this quote is jumping into. Warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We are reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. Now, Valentine's Day occurs every February 14 across Nigeria and in other places around the world. Candy, flowers, and gift items are exchanged between loved ones, all in the name of Saint Valentine. People also honor their love for one another by spending time together and sharing Valentine's message of love. The ritual of expressing love after affection goes far beyond the courtly love of Chaucer's time. He may have been the first person to link the Catholic Saint Valentine with romance, but today, Valentine's Day is a time to show appreciation for family and friends as well. But some will ask, who is this Saint Valentine, this mysterious saint, and where did these traditions come from? Well, now let's take you down memory lane so you can understand the history of Valentine's Day, as the story of its patron saint is shrouded in mystery. We do know that February has a long time been celebrated as a month of romance, and that Saint Valentine's Day, as we all know it today, contains vestige of both Christian and ancient Roman tradition. But who was Saint Valentine, and how did he even become associated with the ancient rites? The Catholic Church recognized at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred. One legend contains that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome when Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families. He outlawed marriage for young men. Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius II ordered that he be put to death. Still, others insist that it was Saint Valentine of Terni, a bishop who was the true namesake of the holiday. He too was beheaded by Claudius II outside Rome. Now, meanwhile, other stories suggest that Valentine may have been killed for attempting to help Christians escape harsh Roman prisons where they were often beaten and tortured. According to one legend, an imprisoned Valentine actually sent the first Valentine greeting himself after he fell in love with a young girl, possibly his jailer's daughter, who he visited during his confinement. Now, before his death, it is alleged that he wrote her a letter signed "From your Valentine." That is still in use. That expression is actually still in use today. Now, although the truth behind the Valentine legend is murky, the stories all emphasize his appeal as a sympathetic, heroic, and most importantly, a romantic figure. By the Middle Age, perhaps thanks to this reputation, Valentine would become one of the most popular saints in England, in France, and in fact, across the whole world. So, that said, what does Valentine's Day mean to you? Send us a message via our social media handle now showing on your screen. Now let's get to the streets of Abuja to get the resident talking on this matter, and afterwards, you get to meet my guest on the show today. Do take a listen.
My own meaning of Valentine's Day is a day where people share love, preach about love. To me, it's not a day where a girl and a boy meet, have sex or whatever. It's just a day you share love, visit hospital, go to places and just share love.
Valentine is not for lovers only. It's love. Love is universal, yeah. So it's not just for lovers only. You could do it for because it's universal. It's all encompassing. Lovers can benefit, family, friends, colleagues, and all. And how do I all spend Valentine? It depends on when Valentine falls. If Valentine falls on a working day, well, you start the day with normal work, go home. Well, depending if you have it, probably hang out with a few friends. Points I've received probably shirts. I've received a shoe. I think I got a shoe when I was in university. And all. I've also received food for Valentine's gifts.
No. When you talk about love sharing, I mean love itself. Love is all about caring for the less privileged. If you have, you give. If you don't have, sometimes you go and share ideas with them. Calm those that are depressed. Show love to them by way of advising them. That is all. It's not all about even morality. Some people are now taking it in a different form. Like maybe probably Valentine, they look it as young girls and boys going to make love all about, trying to derail themselves from the right thing doing. There's a standard for love. That love itself is about caring for one another. That is all about it. Some people are now looking at it as if probably it's the day they want to go and create immoralities everywhere, go to clubs, having fun everywhere, making all sort of rubbish. And that is not all about it. The main theme of that word is about caring for one another. That is all about it.
Actually, not really. I've not been lucky going out with a guy for Valentine though. So that make me, I don't freak out for Valentine. In fact, I take Valentine as a breakfast season. Like everybody go chop breakfast last because all my status guys will be like, Valentine is not for me. I don't even like red color. I like blue color. What are the girls going out with? So breakfast, you go plenty. I swear.
To have you back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now, joining us to celebrate the day of love, the day of romantic expressions, and red outfits is the beautiful barrister Undiga Emuekpere. She is the CEO of the Learned Company. She is also a Fertility and Communications Lawyer. She is she's a diehard foodie. She's plenty good things. Glad to have you on the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right, great to have you. Now let's start by getting your thought. What does Valentine's Day mean to you, or Valentine's celebration?
I'm speaking personally, not from any historical perspective.
Okay.
I think Valentine is one of those days set aside in the year to celebrate love and relationships, really. I think over the years it's come to mean romantic love, as in the love that exists between romantic partners, a husband and a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, just two people in a relationship. But I think Valentine's really is a little bit more than just romantic love. There are all kinds of love. It's a celebration of love. To me, it's on Valentine's Day, I try to reach out to my girlfriends, my friends, people who mean a lot to me. It's, I'm in love with love. Let me start. So Valentine's is more like, I think in the last couple of years, I've tried to make it be an opportunity to be thankful for all the people who love me and who I love, who have been in my life and who have been there for me in one way or the other. So that's, for me, is personal. Of course, it's a day that I like to think about my spouse, my husband, but he's not really so much into Valentine's,
Okay.
to be honest, like many Nigerian men. But if I drag him, he would go somewhere nice with me.
Okay.
But I think Valentine has come to mean so much more than romantic love. Because if you say romantic love, then you think about only one person. If you're in a monogamous, relationship, but if you think about it, love in general, then the scope broadens a lot. It becomes much wider, and then you begin to be a little bit more sensitive or appreciative of the fact that there are so many people who love you.
Okay. Okay, so I was actually going to ask how you spend your Valentine. And like you said, with your husband and then with your girlfriends. Any other thing in between?
With my children,
Okay.
yeah, because for a long time, my husband used to be in the military. So very often Valentine was a day when he was just one other day when he was not around.
Oh, okay.
So Valentine's is a day when I do something nice with my children. Sometimes we would bake a cake and make it a heart-shaped cake and ice it red, or do something nice. So it would be a day when myself and my girlfriends, who are also without their loved ones, will get together and do something nice for each other.
Okay.
Or it might be a day when I just stay by myself and crack on with the day and just try to be thankful for all the love I've enjoyed in my life.
Okay, so now, do you think that Valentine's Day, it's been overhyped, especially in Nigeria?
Well, like many other celebrations, it's become rather commercialized.
Okay.
And the same thing has happened to Christmas, to be honest. The same thing has happened to Easter. It's become one more opportunity to push certain goods. So roses and cakes and all those kind of things that are associated with the Valentine industry, So I think it's also suffered some degree of commercialization. So Valentine has come to mean more about gifts.
Okay.
Receiving gifts, but I think it's a bit more than that. But yes, I think you're right. The whole Valentine brand has become rather commercial now. Not just here in Nigeria.
Okay. All right. So looking at from the history of Valentine, we know that it has been associated with love and romantic expressions in a very good way.
Yes.
And in all quoted in all at least moral standard. But if you're looking at all that happens, especially in Nigeria, Africa, with the way they celebrate Valentine's Day, and then you get to see some funny memes where you have the boy is chasing after the girl on Valentine's Day, and then in November is the girl chasing after the guy with a protruding stomach. So with all of that, why is it that Valentine's Day has now been associated with sex, so many immoral activities?
This is my personal opinion.
Okay.
I noticed that there's a lot of there's a rise in religious fundamentalism, where people are beginning to hold very extreme religious views. So you have, and I don't mean just one religion. You have fundamentalist Christians. Some of them will not use deodorant. Some of them will not wear clean clothes because they're trying to model some extreme form of humility and piety. There is extremism in different religions. And I think there's a spillover of that into the public space. So it's either you're with us in our extreme version of our religion, or you are one of them who are out there in the wilderness, who need to be rescued and brought back into the righteous fold. I think Valentine has suffered some of that as well. Where it's, whether you like it or not, when two adults are in a romantic relationship, sex will happen, unless there are compelling reasons why it will not. So you'll find that people who would rather refrain from sex until some other time, maybe when they are married or so on, they will not be in a romantic relationship to start with. They are more likely not to be in a romantic relationship. But if two adults decide to be in a romantic relationship, it is almost inevitable, or it is very unlikely that there will not be some sexual connotations. I don't think when you think about the way sex has invaded Valentine, it's also invaded a lot of other public spaces. Just think about all our music videos. You can count on one hand how many popular music videos don't have some heavy sexual undertone in them. So I think it's has to do with the sexualization of public discourse. I think we become gradually more and more tolerant of sexual exhibitions on our TV, in the way we dress, and the way our music entertainment. When you go for shows, you think about the kind of dances, the kind of dance moves. In my parents' time, your parents' time, it would have been unthinkable. But I think somehow we become less sensitive to them, and sometimes when when you get certain reactions, then you begin to realize that, we've actually gotten a little bit used to some higher degree of sex and nudity and things like that.
Like it's becoming trend.
Yes, it's becoming normal in a way, So I personally have a problem with that over-sexualization, because if you look at it critically, it is mostly women that are sexualized. When we're talking about sexy, raunchy videos, music videos and movies, it's usually a woman who is bearing all. The men stay most of the time very decently clothed, fully dressed and all that. And it's the women who get tagged all kinds of nasty names. It's always sexy dancers that get deployed for selling music and other things. So from that end, I have an axe with it, because it's always the women who get women's bodies, if you like, that get used to sell these products.
All right, now since you talked about the public discourse, now and then let's talk about the church, which we see that it is an agent for change. That is what we see it as. So now, but then on Valentine's Day, especially, you see a lot of churches would organize programs and boot camps and all, so as to put especially the youth together and talk about these things, about things that you should do morally. And then some people will say that they're just trying to house them together so that they don't go to do the illicit things on Valentine's Day. So do you think all of this is enough? Has it actually even done anything at all?
Enough. You see, it's a difficult question to answer, because we're talking about the future of our country, the future of our world, the youth. It's never enough to make sure that we have the future that we want. There's no investment in a young person's future, in a young person's formation, that will ever be excessive. There's no amount of education. There's no amount of investment in education or any other formation for young people that will be excessive.
Okay.
Just imagine if you had a child or a young person you were taking care of, you would invest the maximum level of your resources to make sure that that person got what you wanted, you thought would be beneficial for their future. So it's never enough. Investing in the future, investing in education is never enough. It's never excessive. As for whether, I think the question that you're trying to ask are these efforts by the church and other change agents enough to save them? To save Valentine from being excessively sexualized? Tough. It's a tough call.
Are we ever going to get there then?
You see, we can sit down here and talk about it and have a very academic discussion, but the honest truth is that sex sells. Sex helps to sell videos. Sex sells all kinds of products. People seem attracted to it. So to the extent that it helps to push sales, people will always use it unless it's outlawed. So that's part of the problem.
Okay, let's get to understand, what does love mean to you? I have a lot of questions on that, but let's start with, to you, what does love mean?
You didn't tell me the questions are going to be so difficult. Okay. What does love mean to me? Love means the capacity to to always have another person's best interest at heart.
Okay.
To put that person first. To be able to forgive. To continue to care and have tender feelings for the person in spite of their flaws, in spite of their mistakes. Love connotes a commitment. It's not today I love you, Monday, Tuesday I don't love you. It is, I'm really, really annoyed with you right now. I feel like strangling you, but I still love you. And if I needed to do something for you that would help you, I would do it because I love you.
All right. So does love have any connection with Valentine's Day? That's one. And then second is, does Valentine's Day, does it stand or provide an acid test for relationship? Because now you see that a lot of things are done, and then couples would go out together, and then they do a lot of things, romantic things, and then is that enough?
There used to be this advert somewhere about dogs, because in England and some other countries, a lot of people give dogs as gifts. And then after Christmas, about January, by the time the dog starts pooing and making a mess and all that, they return the dog to the dog shelter. Because they're like, look, dog, nice idea, but poo, inconvenient, can't deal. And then there was an advert that they put up that a dog is not only for Christmas. And Valentine, and love is not only for Valentine's. I think Valentine is just one day in a year where we celebrate love. So we put love on a pedestal and celebrate it, right? And we celebrate it by doing nice things for the people that we love. But it is supposed to be a reflection of something that happens the rest of the 364 days a year, at least, I think.
Or maybe 365.
Oh, I have 365 days a year. So it's just one day in a year. So what you do on that one day, don't get me wrong, I'm a diehard romantic. I love love. I like romantic things and all that. But if the day before Valentine, you gave me a black eye, then on Valentine, you tell me, come and wear your shoes and your clothes because we are going to a restaurant. That's no love.
Okay.
So what happens on Valentine's Day, if it is a true reflection of what happens on other days of the year in the relationship, then it is a true celebration of love, of the love that can bind two people. But if you have been trained the person dried pepper, fresh pepper, ground pepper, all kinds of pepper throughout the months of the year, and then you choose Valentine's Day to take them somewhere to treat them nice, come on, it doesn't make any sense.
All right. So do you think that love is enough for anything at all, for marriage? Someone comes to you and tell you, okay, I love him so much, that's why I want to marry him. Is that enough reason for marriage?
I've been married for 25 years. For me, personally, love, not enough. Love, great. Love provides a foundation.
Okay.
But there are other things that need to go on top of that foundation to make it a house. So it provides a solid foundation on which to build. Now for me, I'm very strong-willed. I'm very opinionated. I'm a lawyer. I speak my mind. And I have most of the time, I have a clear idea of what I want.
Okay. And
I was raised like a boy. My father didn't have any sons. And so we're all raised to think that anything you wanted to do in life that was good, if you made up your mind, you would be able to do it. My sisters and I were taught how to change flat tire, go to mechanic, check oil, top up hydraulic, even before we were allowed to drive. So it kind of affects the way I think. I might not be presenting what is a typical opinion. So for me, it was fundamentally important for me to have a man that I respect as a person. So I look at you as a person, the kind of character you have. What are your values? For me, that respect if I can't respect you, that respect will eat up all the love, and the love will be gone in next to no time.
Oh,
It is that respect that I feel like saying something that will bring the house down. Is that respect that will make me
just put it together.
Zip it. It's that for me, the respect is a bigger source of restraint and has helped me more than the love. Because some days you wake up in the morning and you'll be like, really? This is who I married? Lord. He'll do some things, you'll be like, how did I do myself this kind of thing? You get. Some days are off days. Some days you're like, okay, I see you. You see me. We're cool. But that's it. I make sure you have all you need, but that day the love is it's just not flowing. But
it's not flowing.
There's a heavy dose of respect on both sides.
Okay.
And then unfortunately in Nigeria we have a small disadvantage because traditionally it is women that are supposed to respect men, and men are not supposed to or expected to, or let's say men are not penalized so heavily if they
the woman is supposed to submit,
if they don't respect their wives. And then we now had a heavy dose of our church people came to come and compound our problems, and they say, okay, the Bible says women submit to your husbands. But if you read the Bible, you'll find out that, at least the way I see it, a man has a higher duty than a woman. Yeah, because submit to your husband. You say I should sit here, fine, I sit here. It doesn't say about anything about what happens in my heart and what I really think. So submit to your husband. Your husband tells you sit down. You sit down. But what is the man's responsibility in the Bible? The man is asked to love his wife like he loves his own flesh and nurtures her and takes care of her the way Christ himself takes care of the church. That's a tall order. How do you love another person who has put too much salt and pepper and who makes the house untidy, who goes out, doesn't know how to take care of who has these normal flaws as a human being? How do you love that person who came from a completely different home, a different background? How do you love that person like yourself? It is that kind of sacrificial, all-encompassing love, unconditional love. That is the responsibility given to men in the Bible.
Okay.
A woman's own is just submit. I sit here, fine. If I were to choose which one is my responsibility, I'll take submit any day of the week. Let the man be loving me like his own body, because he's got more work to do. So I think God is a serious psychologist. He knows what he created. Because he knows that we women, submission. Me, if you're not a man I can respect, submit hell to the no. Wow. How? Why? Why should I submit to you when you are a man that I don't respect?
So for you now, it's actually respect, then love, or love?
There cannot be respect. For me, there cannot be love without respect.
Okay.
This is my personal view.
Okay.
I think sometimes being a bit too cerebral, being too assertive, and being too confident can sometimes get in the way of a relationship. But for me, personally, respect is the basis on which I will love you, because I won't be able to love a man I can't respect. Some people can do it. Some people can do it, but I can't.
Okay. All right, then let's go on a quick break, and when we return, Barrister Undiga is still here and she will tell us more. I'll see you shortly. If you've just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Capitals Television here in the nation's capital, Abuja. We still have Barrister Undiga Emuekpere. She is a fertility lawyer and communications lawyer. She is a foodie, diehard foodie. She's everything you want to love. And if you just joined us, you missed quite a lot, but then you can still join in the conversation. Now, before we went on that break, we've talked about quite a lot of things. And now, I don't know if you followed the story that trended recently online where a girl talked about that she got a fully funded scholarship to do her MSc abroad. And then she had a boyfriend who said, you have to choose between me and your scholarship. It is either you stay with me or you travel.
Mm.
And then she was in the state of dilemma at some point, and then she had to throw the question online, and then people started advising, and then at some point, thank God, she grabbed the scholarship according to people, the advices that she got from people.
Mm.
So, and then that's there on one side, and then the other one is you have people, a particular Nollywood actor who talked about how much his wife has sacrificed for him.
Mm.
She sacrificed her dream just to build their home, and then he received a lot of backlash from people saying that, why do I have to sacrifice my life, my career, my dream for you? What are your thoughts on these two things?
Well, the truth is that if you love someone, sacrificing for them comes naturally.
Okay.
Sacrificing for them comes naturally. And I think sometimes when you go into a relationship, you have to set your priorities. From the beginning, when you're in a relationship, you need to express, both of you, these are my values. Education is important to me. Business is important. Family is important to me. You have these discussions.
Okay.
In the process of being in a relationship, ideally, you should begin to have an idea of what that person's values are, what your own values are. You also need to clarify to yourself what your important goals are and where the things that you cannot compromise about. Now, I didn't catch that story about the lady with the MSc, but my first comment would be that an MSc, what is an MSc? You got a scholarship. It will cost you, she probably will not be able to do that MSc abroad if she didn't get that scholarship. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. She's going to do something that would advance her, improve her future. This is something that a boyfriend or somebody who cares about her should identify with. If he has a problem with her going to do a master's degree that he will not pay for, but which will benefit him in future if they get married, then there's something fundamentally wrong with that relationship. Then my first instinct would be to tell her, girl, you just dodged the bullet. That guy is not for you. Because he's supposed to be clapping for you and thanking God that, wow, people sponsor their girlfriends and their wives to go abroad to study. And somebody has come along and done it for him. And I find it is almost, I can't wrap my head around the fact that in 2021, 2022, somebody would ask his girlfriend to choose between him and a scholarship. It is unthinkable. So as far as I'm concerned, she hasn't lost anything because she didn't really have that guy.
Okay.
That's my perspective. If he can ask you to do that, then I don't think he's the person that she should be with, because it's obvious that there's a conflict in their values.
Okay.
So he wants her to sit down in Nigeria and stay with him and miss the opportunity to improve her life. So the fact that this is a scholarship is just the beginning. It's the first exhibition of that conflict in values. It will keep on happening, and it might even accelerate.
Okay, so now that you've said it, because now you had a lot of people that still came back to say that, yes, they also had this kind of problems. Some people even said that they had to fall for the guy and then stay with the guy. And at the end of the day, the guy went to marry someone else, and then she had to suffer the ripple effect. So now talking about, you said that we should set our priorities right. Everyone, before you get into that relationship, you should ask questions. Set your priorities right first. Know what you want. Now for our children, at what point do you start to talk to your children so that they can know when to draw the line, know where the caveats are, and know that this is a red flag, run as far as you can?
Well, I think, traditionally, our mothers didn't really tell us very much about boyfriends. It wasn't something that they spoke about, but in the course of growing up, you witness what is happening between your parents, and you also learn organically. So traditionally, African Nigeria, your mom won't sit you down and say this, that. Your mom will probably tell you, don't have sex. If you allow a guy to touch you, he will hold your hand, you will get pregnant. Because they're trying to avoid teenage pregnancy. What I think a parent, because I'm a parent myself, thank God, what I think a parent can do is to teach your child, girl or boy, to value themselves, to be confident, to have a clear idea of their own values. Because if you value yourself, you will not allow someone do certain things to you. Sometimes your guard might come down because you think you're in love with that person. It's somebody that loves you, that has the opportunity to do you some, strong things. But if you value yourself, you will know that, look, why are we having this discussion? What? It's not even an issue. I'm going to England or wherever. I'm taking up my scholarship. It's not an issue. Now, some of the issue, part of the problem is that as a society, we put so much pressure on women to marry. And you'll be like, this one is coming hot for me. Make I hold on. You know, and you forgo other opportunities because we're afraid to be single. We're afraid to be alone. And a lot of your so-called self-worth as a woman is tied up with the fact of whether somebody puts you in the house as a wife. So I think it places women in a very difficult position. I still have friends who are single, and I see the pressures that they go through. Every time a younger cousin, a younger sister gets married, people are looking at you and like, okay, you're next. What, you are still here.
Auntie, what are you doing?
You know, auntie, what are you doing? You know, I think if society is kinder to the fact that some women will not be married, there will be less pressure on women to say. Because if the girl knew that if it's not you, it's another person, Joe, and this degree is important to me, she'd be like, you know, we won't even be having this discussion. And I also tell my son, because I've got one of each, I tell my son that if you love your wife or you love your girlfriend, you will want the best for her. But that's not to say that sometimes that investment can backfire. You know that old song, Christiana, what is it about? Christiana was sponsored by her boyfriend to go to Obodo Ibo, to England to go and study. When Christiana came back, she said, you're too local for me. Bye-bye. That I will give you your money back while I marry another woman. There will always be sub-stories.
Exactly.
Sometimes it doesn't work out well. I had to go away for a while abroad to study. And I know a lot of people told my husband, like, oh boy, I can't send my wife home. My wife will be here in my house. Do you get? Because whether you like it or not, there are some marriages that can't take the stress of separation.
Okay.
It's difficult. Sometimes the husband is somewhere else, the wife and the family are somewhere else. You get lonely, the wife can get lonely, the husband can get lonely. A lot of things happen. Talk less of when you're dating, you know. Sometimes you don't get a return on your investments.
All right, so taking a cue from what you just said, where you landed, you talked about where the husband could be somewhere else and then the wife is somewhere else. Now let's talk about this trend of side chicks. So how would you, as a person, how would you know if you're the main chick or you're the side chick? Especially for husbands who export their wives or children to abroad or somewhere else, and then he's living in another place as a glorified bachelor. So some people are actually saying that I have someone who said if he's driving a space bus or a Sienna, then he's a family man. Run, because that's a family vehicle. So what's it for you?
Well, the truth is there are some women who are happy to be mistresses. Whether you like it or not. Let's not talk about the morality of it. That's a separate issue. There are many women who are happy to be mistresses. They want somebody to foot their bills, to keep them, help them maintain a certain lifestyle. And if they find somebody who can do that for them, they don't mind if he's somebody else's husband. That is just the truth. Now, is that a choice I will recommend for my daughter? No. I'll tell her, look, you're good enough to be somebody's wife. Why would you want to be somebody's mistress? A man can walk out on a marriage. Then talk less of a mistress. It goes, you just go into history and go look around you and look at people who were people's mistresses. At the end of the day, what do they have? What do they really have? And I believe in you reap what you sow. You date somebody's husband, right? And you divert his attention from his family, you divert his attention from his responsibilities, and God is sleeping, right? You will get away with it scot-free, right? I'm not sure. Adultery is not morally right. But that man has a responsibility to his wife and his family. How would you feel if you were the wife? How would you feel if it was your sister who was the wife at home and her husband would not come home? 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Her husband doesn't do what he's supposed to do. And society has a way of rationalizing it. They be like, if he pays the school fees, pays the bills, gives you car, and he recognizes you as his wife, you just turn your eye and ignore him. Okay.
Especially when he takes good care of the children.
If he takes good care of the children, you take it as well. It's one of those sacrifices that you make. Some people have a bigger capacity to tolerate than others. Some people find a way to live with it, but some people will give you high blood pressure. You'll be sitting down there and at home and trying to hack into his phone and find people to trace him all over the place. I have high blood pressure already on my own. We have it in my family. I really don't want anything to increase my blood pressure.
Okay.
So for me, I would say, pursue your own dreams. Do you take care of your children? Make sure that you do things that you find fulfilling. Find things to do. Before you married that man, you were a complete, total, badass babe. God created you and he looked and said, wow, look at my creation. You were a complete person. You don't stop being a complete person just because you get married. So if you're waiting for that man to come back from his travels to make you happy, how much time is left for you to be happy? So you will not have a fulfilling life? Are you going to kill yourself over something that you have no control over? Those people who want to be side chicks and main chicks, what I would advise somebody who is dating a guy is that Valentine's Day is one of those days that he's not a wizard. He can't be in two places at the same time.
Exactly.
It's either with you or with somebody else. So Valentine's Day might provide you an opportunity to test your standing. Okay. But there are many other ways in which you can test your standing in a man's life. Simple ones. How much access does he give you to him? Do you have to fill form and send it to the embassy for them to give you visa before you can visit your boyfriend? Or can you just walk into his house at any time? Are there lots of locked places? Does he want you to meet his friends? Although Yoruba people they will be calling Iyawomi. Every village will be calling Iyawomi, but meanwhile there are 20 of you, they are calling Iyawomi. So that one might not necessarily work for some people, but there are certain things. And I find my experience with some of my girlfriends and even my own life, sometimes you're dating somebody, your instincts are telling you that there's something wrong, but you don't want to listen because you're in love. Until one day you suffer one massive, basbos. So there are many ways you would know. When a guy is committed to you, you will know. The amount of time, he has 24 hours in a day. How much time does he want to spend with you? How much access do you have to him? How much of a space in his life? I mean, and apart from physically, how much of a space does he give you in his life? How much does he value your goals? How much does he identify with your goals? These are, I'm not saying people don't pretend though, because some people can give some award-winning acts and the girl will just be completely fooled. And then there's something else that we used to do traditionally. When you're in a relationship with somebody and you want to take the relationship forward, people go and ask questions. Because even if the guy fools you, you can't fool everybody. Your parents, your family will send people to go and ask questions. Who is this person who is dating our daughter? Is he a good person? And sometimes when they present the woman with the girl or the lady in the relationship with the evidence, she'll be doing I go die love, that this guy is either this guy or nothing. And she would ignore the advice that she's getting. So I think it's, before you take that jump, you can't know a person 100%. You can't get even if you get a private detective, he can't give you 100%. People still have secrets, but it's just to limit the number of secrets that there are. Okay. To make sure, try and make an informed decision. It will always be a risk.
Okay.
You can never see into the future. There's no crystal ball to tell you this relationship will work or this marriage will work, but at least you start on a reasonably informed basis.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about approaching a guy or a girl, chiking or toasting a guy or a girl. And in this part of the world, we already believe that it is wrong. In fact, it's a taboo for a woman to toast a guy or even pop the big question. So for you, what is it? Is it, what would you advise? Is it shoot your shot? Pop the big question, or just wait on the guy, let him ask you the question, and if he doesn't, it means that he's not yours. Let the bird fly.
Let me speak for myself.
Okay.
People are different. People have different temperaments, different personalities, right? The chemistry, you have the woman, or you have the man, or you have two women, or you have two men, or you have the two people in the relationship, right? There's some people, there are some women who are known, including yours truly, way back then. If I liked a guy, I don't feel anything about letting the guy know that I like you.
Okay.
Right? Because the truth of the matter is some guys are slow. You can be there sitting down there giving him green light. The guy is not looking. Even if he's seeing the green light, I don't know.
He doesn't understand.
He's not seeing green. He's seeing purple. It's like you can be there giving the guy green light for now till next year, and the guy will be like, "Come, oh boy, look." I've been sitting down there giving you green lights. So what is it? Shall we do, or can we try to do something, or we are not going to do something? Because you just they stay there and die in silence. But then again, there are still some men who will be like, wow, you're so loose. You know, can you imagine she came on to me? You know, and the guy will be feeling like he's too much, and he will take it as an opportunity to show you shaggy, you know, that kind of thing. So it's a fine line, but personally, I would say, do you?
Okay.
And someone who loves you will love you. Some men actually get a trip, a massive ego trip. Like, wow. She was like, she didn't wait for me. She came up to me and said, how about it? You know, so it really depends. There's some people who would, they rather die than approach a guy and tell the guy, you know, that I like you. In terms of the big question, as in, will you marry me? I think I'm still a little bit traditional.
So you prefer it the other way around?
No, yeah. If I could get my husband to go on his knee and propose to me, that would be nice. That would be very nice, you know. But the truth is, it is from the woman's conduct, the way she behaves in the relationship, that will give the guy the confidence to pop the question. Nobody likes to be bounced. So if he thinks that there's a very big chance that the answer will be yes, he will pop the question. But you also have to understand the man's psychology. In many relationships, the woman has already decided in 1990 that if this guy asks me to marry him, I will say yes. She'll be there waiting for the guy till 1999 before the guy will finally summon up the courage to. Sometimes a man is actually pushed to pop the question because she'll give him ultimatum. Oh boy,
no time.
It's either we are moving forward or we are saying goodbye. Then the person will be forced to pop the question because he's afraid of losing her. You know, that kind of thing. I think men, generally speaking, they arrive at that place of, I'm ready to commit to a marriage. They arrive at that place later. And I think because a man can marry at any time, a woman has a shorter time within which to get married if she wants to get married. So she's on a clock. The man is not on a clock. He doesn't have any pressure. So there's always that little difference in the amount of pressure. And generally speaking, they don't put men under as much pressure as women to get married. And a woman, once she passes a certain age, you know that it's by God's help that I will still find a husband to marry in this environment, you know, that kind of thing. So I think that's the problem.
All right. So now let's talk about complementing each other, especially in marriage or relationship, because now we hear some relationship experts will say that you should complement each other, meet each other halfway. It could be 50-50, and if it's not 50-50, it could be 70-30, depends on what you can give and what he can receive. Now, let's take you, for example. We know you to be the life of the party, the 2 minutes everywhere boss, in a very good way though. And then your hobby is the reserved type. So how do you meet each other halfway?
We are different. I'm the one that I'll come into a place and people will notice that I'm there because I'm friendly and chatty and all that. If there's something to do, I'll be one of the first people to, is it time to wash plates? Oh yeah, let's do it. You know. So, but my husband is more strategic, right? He's the kind of person that will come into a room and sit down somewhere and watch. Look at everybody, you know, evaluate the situation, notice people, notice the dynamic in relationships, the group dynamics and everything. He's the kind of person that won't miss anything.
Okay.
Right. So if there's something to be done, my husband needs some coaxing to be convinced that it's the right thing to do. For me, I'm like, I'm out of the gate. Are you coming? You know? So I'm the operations person. I get the show on the road. He's the strategy person. He does the plans to make sure that we stay on the road and don't enter the bush. So we both have a role to play. And I think in that way we complement each other. The differences in personalities can also be a source of friction. Because sometimes you tell me, you talk too much. And then I'll tell him, you talk too little. You say, just say exactly how you feel and stop battling it. You know, let people know. So if you're not happy, say why you're not happy. So so I can tell you I'm sorry, I can get on with it and stop marinating and stewing the quarrel. And one day we just go boom. For me, I don't save my fights. If I'm not happy with you today, I'll tell you, nah. And let's tear our clothes and settle it and be done with it. So I've come to appreciate, you know, his own approach. Okay. And he has also come to appreciate my own approach. So sometimes if we're doing construction or we need to deal with welder, carpenter, mason, surprise, surprise, I am the one who has the patience to deal with them to make sure that we get what we want. My husband is like, what? Nonsense. Get another person. He just has very zero tolerance for nonsense. And maybe his military background has to do with it as well. But I am the one who will say, okay, no, so what do we do? And all right, why weren't you here? Let's do it this way. Let's think of another way. So we complement each other.
Okay.
We complement each other. I think that's what makes our partnership work, because over the years we've come to respect each other's capacities. We still, even yesterday we still quarreled about it, but I'm like, I tell him, look, he wants me to be running at 2,000 miles per hour. And I have to remind him, like, yeah, I know I come across as if I'm always on the go, but I'm a human being, so I'm running as fast as I can, you know. So it's also about the communication.
Okay.
Keeping the communication going.
I like the fact that you even told us that you quarrel about some things and then you settle immediately, because the kind of what we hear is from some relationship expert is like they don't even quarrel at all.
Oh no,
it's
not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not possible for two people to come from even your own siblings who you grew up in the same house, the same exposure, the same values, you still fight. Then this is somebody that comes from God knows where, his own family dynamic, his own background, his own experiences, his own values. And two of you decided to do this thing called life together. If they don't fight, someone is pretending.
All right, so even as we begin to round up, now we have a social media message. Someone sent us a question. It says, would you rather tell your intended or your husband all of your secrets or keep some to yourself? As I was told that it's something, okay, some things that I'm sure she meant some things are better kept a secret forever. What are your thoughts? Okay.
The truth is, there's no human being that doesn't have secrets. But there are some secrets that are more destructive than others. I have secrets. There's some things that I won't tell my husband.
Okay.
Not because I want to hide something, but as a human being, you have to have some things that are to yourself. Every human being you have that autonomy. You need to have that sense of there's certain things about yourself that you control. Secrets might not necessarily be something bad.
Okay.
You understand? There's two of us in the relationship. There's me, there's him. We're two different people. I have my life, he has his life. And then there's a life that we share. Now, if it is something that affects that life that we share, I'd like to think that we don't have too many secrets.
Okay.
Right? But
Okay.
if secrets, you're thinking that, okay, if my husband had an extramarital affair, I'm really not sure I want to know.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure I want to know. I like my peace. What would it do for me? It would make me upset.
So there's no need for the snooping around.
I don't try to hack into my husband's phone. I don't try to read his emails. I'm too busy trying to make a life for myself. I'm too busy chasing my dreams. What would it do except disturb me? That's my view.
Okay.
I haven't always been like this.
Okay.
I haven't
Like they
always...
say, experience helps you.
No, I honestly, to be totally honest, I think at the early part of my marriage, I was more bothered about it.
Okay.
But then, I mean, by the time I became a mother and I started thinking about prioritizing my goals, I said, okay, I want to be a lawyer. I want to get a master's degree. I want to get a PhD. I want to do this. I want to do that. I began to find that I was so busy trying to chase my dreams down that those things didn't matter as much to me.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason was because we support each other. When he needed my support, I had to hold on on my dreams for a while to help him progress in his career.
Okay.
And when he got to a certain place in his career, he reciprocated by allowing me take the opportunity to build my own career. And it's that reciprocity.
Okay.
I do for you, you do for me. I think that is the basis of some of the reasons why we have not killed each other yet.
All right. So now, even as we begin to round up, we're going to play a game. I'll ask you a question and then quick, your answer. Okay. So now the first question is, what's your hobby's pet name?
Loads.
Okay. And then what's the most ridiculous Valentine's gift you've ever gotten?
Ridiculous one. To be honest, I haven't really gotten so many Valentine's gifts. I haven't really received very many Valentine's gifts in my life.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, I tell you the most ridiculous one. A Valentine's card that was addressed to the wrong girl.
Really?
Yes.
I can imagine.
When I was in university.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm just remembering that for the first time in a long time. Yes, it was a beautiful card. It's just that the envelope said Undiga, but inside it was Ada. You are the best thing that's happened to me since toast bread. Ada, without you, I can't eat. I can't sleep. And I'm like, wow. Ada is a baby. So it's about Ada that has your heart. And the card came, but I didn't see the guy. So that day I knew I was not the main
And you didn't even see it as maybe he just calling me Ada.
Which kind of Ada?
Okay, so is it for you? Is it money or love?
I'm in love with love, Joe.
Really?
I'm in love with love. Two of us can make money.
Okay. So who are your best couples alive? Nigerian and foreign?
Oh, my best couples. I really admire the Clintons. Because they came through adversity. I can't imagine the embarrassment of your husband's extramarital affairs being all over national TV and being the subject of an impeachment. And she stood there beside him. I doff my cap for, no matter what else wrong she has done, I doff my cap for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, wow.
Any day of the week for that.
Okay, so what of Nigerian?
Nigerians. I like Oluwajoke Jacobs. I really like them.
Okay. Okay, so the last one. In terms of lovemaking, would you rather ask or go right ahead?
Ask for what? Does it not belong to me?
So you just grab it?
Oh, come on, turn around. Do I look like one of your sisters? It's me and you start this business now. There's nobody else there now. So, dearly beloved husband, I wish to have relations with you tonight. Is that how it's supposed to work?
Oh dear. Thank you so much for your time with us, Barrister Undiga Emuekpere. It's always a pleasure having this talk with you.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm sure you must have been entertained, you must have been educated and rightly informed. We have been chatting with Barrister Undiga Emuekpere. She is a Fertility and Communications Lawyer. She is a foodie. She is the CEO of the Learned Company. It has been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. I will see you next time. From the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Annabelle Oji. God bless Nigeria.